Okay, fine.
Here we are
Got it.
back again. It's so good to see you all again. And we really are just so interested now. We have to hear from Kim, who's also been very busy this year. Kim,
Yeah, I have. I've been very busy. But a couple of insights, I guess, for me. One is that I spend a lot of time in the studio looking and thinking, and this is different if I think of, really many years ago. So that's the first thing that's happened for me, and the other thing is that I've come finally to be able to put something visually together that satisfies an urge that I had, and that now goes back 40 or 50 years ago. And I've shocked myself that I saw it on the wall, and this has to do with the combination of my steel work and the paintings. And 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, I can remember thinking, I want to take a person and put them between two paintings. And here I am now making things that kind of look like people in steel and putting two paintings around it. So that's been a really wonderful thing. The other thing is this work that we've done with the book has brought to mind a real strong desire to have to create a survey book of my own work. And this is a direct relation a result of the work that we're doing as a group. And so I don't know when I'll get to that, but this is something I really do want to do. And then finally, I have spent a lot of time submitting to commercial galleries. And I have one success. I have picked up a gallery in Arizona. Yeah.
Hey, bravo.
Yeah, thank you. And I continue to submit. I work with a consultant, and I'm happy to tell anybody whatever you would want to know about it. And he's given us just a method for moving forward to making submissions. I now do it in a very without a very rote manner, and so it's just not complex at all, and it takes very little energy now. Finally, so that's been my year. That's been my year.
Well, the other thing, Kim, I forgot to mention that you and I and two other artists have spent a great deal of time putting together a proposal for an exhibition of the four of us. And that also kind of feeds into this notion, collating your work and thinking about it, and which we've done because we've made a proposal that is in the form of a book. So I didn't get a chance to mention that, and Kim has been very much a part of that. So
yes, absolutely.
About to send it out.
Yes.
I'd also like to thank Kim, because it's not just, Jan, myself, and Carol working on this. Kim has been fundamental in helping us finance these things and taking all the checks and being the treasurer for this project. And I'm really grateful to everything you've done and how you've kept track of all the little details.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And it's mutual for all the work that
Really.
that has been put in to create this book. It's just incredible.
Thank you,
Really,
Kim.
thank you.
Thank you, Kim. And I mean, in a way, Kim has been our registrar, because it's not just like taking the checks, going to the post box and getting the checks and depositing them. She's kept records of, all the payments, because unless they come in, we can't do anything. So it's a lot of record keeping. Everyone here has, has a lot of skill and experience in all of these matters. And what I'd like to say, and this points to what Kim has just said, that it's easy to do things in parallel, so that if you're doing it for this book or the next book or for the
Mhm.
group,
Yes,
you're doing it for your own work as well. And
That's
you
right.
just can handle all of these things simultaneously. And I think that's what Kim was also saying with submissions, that if you can create a submission that can be sent to multiple places, it
That's
not
right.
only saves you the energy of repetition, but it also preserves your emotional state,
Exactly.
because
Mhm.
there's a huge emotional element to, oh, I've done this, nothing has come of it. How can I get myself to do it again? And
Right.
that's very different if you put it together and you don't have that emotional cost each time.
Mhm. Very well said.
So I think that's really great. And I don't see Jeannie yet, but I'd like to talk a little bit. I know we've just like, we're so excited about this. And I have to tell you, so excited. You know, we got them on Sunday. Well, we've already got in the mail all of our contributions to the libraries. So I already sent
Wow.
little notes
Thank you,
and
Jan.
sent them out.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Jan.
And what I will do is I will revise the list of the recipients, so that if anyone wants to take one of theirs and send it to an institution that's important to them, personal, then they can send another copy themselves and let me know, and I'll add it to our list. One
Great.
of the things, hi Jeannie, we're glad you're back. We've been waiting for you, but I just want to finish one thing. One of the things about the reality of this project is that when we did our first book, and I'm sure you noticed, it was thicker. We were 29 artists. We
Right.
lost 3, which was really sad. And we had 3 who declined to participate in this book. So it's really important because, you know, we have a certain number of libraries where we can, that we can support this way. But I think with the volume for the 80s, I'm going to make a recommendation that in addition to this, we create a flyer. And for very little postage, we can send the flyer announcing all 3 volumes that we'll have and send it out massively, so that institutions know about this and want to bring them into their libraries.
Great idea.
That's what I think we should be doing. I have to say that postage is very expensive. So if you ever think that going to Lulu or Blurb and paying $6 or $7 to have a book delivered to you, it's not that much now, because the postage on one of these, if you send it first class, is $5.50 now. And
Wow.
and a padded envelope, bubble wrap envelope is $1. And the labels and, you know, and the tape and the this and the that. So really, it makes sense that we're using print on demand and that we're encouraging other people to use it as well.
Mhm.
And so I was able to do the library rate on this, but unless you have 200 pieces, you can't do bulk, and it's really a lot. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. And now I'm so excited. I want to hear what Jeannie's been up to this year.
I want to mention something. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
mail it media.
I did,
mail.
and it's $3.50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you have to have any,
Though.
there's no minimum on that.
I understand. I'm just saying that I was just talking about the idea of like what the value is for someone in their thinking, you know, that they might think, oh, because I know you can fault me. I've had this thought that if I order something from Blurb or Lulu and I'm getting 1 or 2 copies because somebody wants them, and I'm thinking, what a lot of money they're charging, you know, $6.95 to send it. But actually it's not. You know, they've got their cardboard thing and they're mailing it, and they've got label,
Yeah.
they're mailing it. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Good.
Jeannie,
So me,
you.
let's see this. First, I want to say the book. I was really tickled by the book because there was something about all of us being around our 20s, somewhere in our, and we have a few younger guys who are still in high school probably, but really, it was very touching because we were so enthusiastic. I think the politics of the day backed us up to just go for it, whether there's support or not, and make it happen. You know, that all helped so much.
Yeah.
As Lulu knows, we were both in Fresno. I mean, we saw that stuff, the movement happen, but it was really touching to see it because we're blind optimists. If you really read the statistics about the art, well, we were real optimists. Anyway, I really, I just got a kick. I thought we were all very brave. Anyway, this year, hard because of COVID, hard because John's had some health issues, and I'm doing a lot more caretaking, and that's a new thing. I mean, he still goes to the studio, he's still John, but he's slower. One car now, not two, changes. He's in a lot of back pain. It's very hard to be with somebody in the house all the time who's really suffering. So that's hard. The other part is, I don't know, I had, maybe because of that, you know how this stuff works sometimes, I had tremendous energy and put on a show. I was really happy with the transmission. And I don't know if any of you saw it, sort of keep pushing that 3D out as far as I can. That just fascinates me. So that was really fun. I actually did a whole film on an artist, Judy Fusainer, that was sort of a lark, and it actually turned out pretty funny.
It's good.
And that was interesting to try, you know, that was just a cell phone film. And we should do that for each other. You know, it's very interesting, and you can make it fun. She carries things along because she's a good storyteller. So sometimes it's not so easy because I tried helping somebody with another artist who's not very talkative. So it's like, it depends a little bit, but it's really a good tool. And I have not learned how to do it on Instagram, but it's sort of interesting. Like, how do you do these reels and all this stuff? So that's fun. And then the other thing is, just like the page in the 70s book, the other part is portraiture, which I bring out from, and I just printed an entire catalog of same-sex marriages from 2004, because when that happened at City Hall, I just said, this is history. And I ran over and photographed everyone waiting in line to get married. And it was, I wrote in the book, I'm making a book, a bit of a book with Carol, who's the designer from Fantastic. So what was great was I didn't have to prod anybody. They were, the happiness and the joy on the faces of the couples was amazing. So I'm just glad, because I just witnessed it, you know, and recorded. So that's a fun series. I'll send, maybe if you want, I'll send you a link. I'll put a link up for you. Anyway, that was fun. So it was like both sides of my work. I got to, and the transmission was really interesting because I had utter focus. And I think I remember a little bit about that. Those of you who've had kids, when you got to finally get to your studio, boy, did you focus, or else you're wasting your time. You didn't have that much time, right? When you had a little kid. So I found that it was very satisfying. So I've had a really good work year, but a hard year. And I'm batty with COVID, like all of us, you know. I mean, you keep thinking it's over and then it's not.
Yeah.
So that was sort of it. And that, yeah, just adding film was fun. I'm interested in carrying that further.
Yeah. Priscilla, hi. Would you like to let people know a little bit about how your year has been?
The whole year?
Well, something from the year.
It's a blur. It's a total blur. But a couple of interesting things have come out of it. One is an extra book. Maybe Sass told you about it. This, can you see this?
Yes.
It's called Fun Book, published by the Jen Tuff Gallery in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And she selected a bunch of artists to be in it. And that's the piece that I have in it right there.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that was a big thing. It's just arrived. Other than that, it's been mostly home stuff, not so much studio. My next door neighbors removed a gigantic tree next to my property that was on the street, huge, beautiful. But now my yard is destitute of that beauty, but it doesn't have pine needles dripping in it all the time. So that
Do you have
was
more light in your house?
yes, I do. I
Yeah.
do. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and I haven't gotten used to that yet.
So looking forward to the 80s book,
Yeah,
my first request is that everyone send me an email with your suggestion of a writer for the book to contact. And you can give me like 3 names in order of your preference, because I'm going to use this like voting in terms of the order of contacting the writers. So if you send the emails and CC everyone so everyone knows what's coming up, but even if you've seen the name of someone that you like, send it to me also, because as I said, I'm going to take that in and weighing it in terms of where to go first with contact. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, I know you all have already started during this long period to write your 80s statement and to find your images and your photographs.
Yeah.
So you will be
It's
getting an email
excellent.
with me with a deadline. That is going to be coming your way, a group email to everyone focusing on the 80s. And we can work on this long before we have an essay in hand from a writer. The other thing is something that is new that I want to talk to you about. And it comes out of just what I was saying earlier. If there's a good idea, one should pick it up and run with it. And I encountered what I thought was a very good idea about a year ago. I found the artist documentation program, which actually was started and funded by the Daniel Foundation. And some of you might have seen some of these videos. They started in 1990. They brought artists either into their space or they met in the studios, and they looked at work that was in the collection and talked about the work with the artist and the conservator, about the materials, what they used, what they were, their process, how things were applied, what materials have survived or need repair, what should be done, what the artist felt was needed or not needed. Anyway, these considered documentaries are absolutely fantastic. And so I thought that this would be a really valuable thing to add as a video page, links to videos that talk about maybe 2 or 3 pieces of work. A lot of you work and have worked in different materials, different media completely over the years, and going back to what you were using, process, what you changed in your work, things that would be helpful. And I think the real advantage is not only for the preservation of your work in the future, when you're not here to let anyone know what you used or what was actually going on there, but it also is going to be a good resource for anyone in the future looking at work from that particular period to think, oh, in the 70s, these inks were fugitive. Oh, in the 80s or 90s, these things were developed. These paints were changed. These mediums that became available. Oh, here's Tyvek, here's Yupo. Here's like 30 years difference in terms of time. So I think what we will put together will be something that will be so valuable, not just for our own work in the future, but for the work of other artists, for acquisitions. And I think it'll bring a lot of people to the website as a resource. It's very easy to do. And to prove that it's very easy to do, I just made mine.
Oh.
So I did mine, and it does not reach an hour. The Dominial videos are each an hour. I didn't want to be a solo talking head, so I actually twisted the arm of one of my sons, who has never done anything with me in the studio or talked about work before, but he held the iPhone. He had a couple of questions, which I think is much more lively So again, you could set this up just the way we did the artist interviews with Zoom with each other if you want, or if you have somebody that comes into your space or is close to you, this is a great opportunity to help establish just what we were talking about in terms of having someone who can carry on and who understands to bridge from when you can no longer speak about your work yourself to when there's somebody that hopefully will have interest in the work who's had no direct connection to you. So I highly recommend having someone with you. You can also do it alone by yourself. But that is the next thing that I'm proposing. I think it's really going to be valuable for the future of everyone's work.
And
Your
is the
design there.
format, is there a suggested format that we can look up online through Jim and Neil?
So you can, it's called the Artist Documentation Program. You can watch theirs. And I uploaded mine that I just did, and I uploaded it to my YouTube channel. And so if you just do one word, Jan Worm, on YouTube, search, you'll come to my channel. And it's it's in 2 sections. So you can just take a look at them.
Mhm.
What is it?
Okay.
Artist documentation
Documentation project.
project.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and it's fantastic because I ended up watching everyone I love. There's Jasper Johns, there's
Oh,
there's Terry Winters, whom I really like. There's Frank Stella's fantastic. You know, he's really great in it. And so there, I mean, there's so many that they've done and they're really wonderful.
Hmm.
But it doesn't have to, I mean, it's not going to be that formal. You're not, you know, in a museum storage area. You're, you know, you're in your studio with your work. But to make a selection of work, you know, I think it's really easy. I think, oh my gosh, painting, how boring. I just paint on canvas. I've been doing it for 50 years. What's the deal? All of a sudden I start thinking, and afterwards more came to me. I thought, oh my goodness, there was a period of 5, 6, 7, was it 8 years? I was actually using rabbit skin glue. I mean, someone should know that, right? But I don't think about it anymore. It wasn't like in my earliest work, it wasn't in my latest work. So I think that this is a good start, and you can always do another video. You can always amend things. You can, if you know, if we were all Liz Share, we could like really cut and splice and make a wonderful production. But in the meantime, we have a document and it's very easy to do. I think that's the beauty of this digital technology that we have at our hands, and it doesn't cost anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
All right. Are they on YouTube? Like Jan, the Damon Hill project? Is that to be found just Googling it?
So if you Google it, you will find it. It's linked to their website. So from their website, you can link to it. But I don't remember whether it was on YouTube or on
The site?
some other platform. Yeah,
Okay. Awesome.
I don't remember. I haven't looked at this for a little bit.
Mhm. All right.
I think Elizabeth's jumping off now. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Bye, everybody. It's really nice to see you and
Hi.
thank you. It's
Hi, Elizabeth.
Thank you
been
so much.
wonderful. Can't wait to work on the next. Oh, I'm wearing the same color, but that's an
Yes.
accident. See you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I gotta go too. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hi.
Bye.
So, does anybody have any questions that came up that they had and that they'd like to address for the next book? Or I see 2 hands. I think Curtis was first and then Kim. Yeah,
What's the deadline for the 80?
you'll get it in the email. I'm going to send you an email and you'll have it hard copy.
Mm.
I have it on my calendar, but I don't have my calendar right here. Sorry. So it'll be after Valentine's Day, but before taxes.
Oh,
That's close.
Good.
For the whole video?
No, I think that that we're pretty good with this now, and you've gotten to the point where you know where your older images are and your older photographs, and as you're going along, when you're looking for photographs of the 80s, you put the ones for the 90s right next to it, so you're ready for the.
Oh,
You're
oh,
ready to go.
That's the whole point of it's, the reason that this book is such that I'm going to say, okay, we can just go with the next one is, all the labor that went into the formatting and the designing, it's there. Now we
Right.
can take advantage of it. It's kind of like, I don't want to say it's a freebie because Carol's here. I know how much work it is to do each one. It's not that there isn't a lot of work, but there's a lot that we can draw upon that's already in the bank for us.
Yeah.
And by putting aside the photographs from, the 90s, along with looking for the 80s, you've got 2 books done with the same effort.
I think the best thing about the 70s, this book, is that we all merge. There's so many connections because it's one period of time. And it was such a vital, we were all growing up and rebelling. And I mean, we were just so engaged in learning. And it's that point at which we were just finding ourselves. And I think it's really interesting how common our experiences were.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more, I think it's much more interesting than the first book, which was kind of all over the place. We didn't have a focus as much.
I agree.
Also, I think Maria's writing, she was so specific.
So bad.
She gave the history, but she specifically, linked names to activities that were actually part of the history. So she wrote us right in.
Yeah, she did.
That was beautiful.
It was
She was
fantastic.
really good.
Yeah.
What a difference.
Yeah.
I have a suggestion. I agree with the idea that her writing was just top notch, just
Yeah.
top notch. And one thought that has come to me is that maybe we don't want to lose her completely. And maybe between now and the time we get through the end of the 2010s, whatever we decide to stop, we might ask her we might ask her to do another one and let her pick her decade.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great idea.
That is wonderful. I also think that we have a deeper, wider, more meaningful world when we have more writers writing about us.
Right.
And about the work. And I think Maria is fabulous. I mean, I totally love her. And yes, I'd love to have her do everything, but I also think we gain a lot by having different writers and different voices coming into the mix. And the point that we had with 2020, I hope we all we've lived long lives. I hope we live even longer lives and stay active. And that brings up issues of endowment. And I've brought this up in the past about establishing a little account, a fund, where we can calculate and pay in as we go along money to maintain our website,
Yeah, that's a
keep
good
it
idea.
fresh, so that we don't lose our domain and our site. So it's housed, we know what those costs are. And so that we can see these projects through, and not that we necessarily have to prepay for each of these projects at this point in time, but that we have this and that we can, put some things together and think about this financially, and talk about those who will be taking care of our things when we're not here, so they know what we're doing and what value it has, and have connections so that emails are exchanged and people know how to proceed.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
Good idea.
Well, it was shocking, with the first book, because we were up against it right away. We learned that lesson very early, that families are grieving right afterwards. This is not going to be the first thing that anyone is going to think about.
Oh, right.
And they don't even necessarily think about the upkeep on the individual artist's website. I mean,
Right.
Mhm.
Mari's website went out, right? There it was.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
Mm.
initially. Yeah. And
Yeah.
these are the things that we have to think about. It's easy to not even think about sharing passwords.
Yeah.
We're talking about having will, trust, all these things. You need some record of all your passwords to be able to have and know, so that someone knows where they are. Because in addition to how far you get in your cataloging of all your work and your inventory, your computer is one of your greatest resources
Right.
Right.
to be backed up. And you should have, I have it backed up on a hard drive down in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
Hard drive. I have flash drives just with lots of images and some videos that I gave to a friend in New York. Has one. She's just keeping it. Another friend down south has one in different locations. It's really simple. It's so that not everything is lost. If you've got a fire, a flood, you die and nobody can access your computer, any number of things, earthquake. What are we thinking about here? It's
Yeah.
very easy.
Right. Yeah.
That's very smart.
One person we lost is Susan Landauer.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
She would have done a fabulous essay. She was so good at research. We were going to write a book. She wanted to do a book on me. We were already starting to collect materials.
Yeah.
Such a shock. She and Hung, I think,
Mhm.
daily, I think of them.
Yes. Yes.
There's a lot of people this year.
Many.
Yeah. Yeah. Susan was quite a champion for all the artists in California, the Bay Area. She was quite extraordinary, and
Right.
I feel that loss also.
Yeah.
So
what's an upbeat? What's something upbeat we can talk about before we?
upbeat is everyone has
Oh, I
done
have-
so much
I have
work.
something to say, since I started and I didn't. I got, mine was too short.
Tell
Last year, I just sold my first big painting.
Yay.
Probably the first painting I sold off of somebody else's wall for 15 years.
Wow.
And I sold another one from the Crooks this summer. So I'm not gonna teach, and I can live off of them.
Wow.
That's
That's
fantastic.
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Little,
Wonderful.
It's fantastic.
And we all want to know about these crooks.
oh, they're Marlboro people.
Yeah, and they were crooks before, if you remember,
Yes.
Yeah, they were.
with Rothko and everything.
Rothko.
Remember some of
Right.
that?
Well, I
Whoa.
was kind of naive,
Yeah.
but I did a very brave thing. There, about 3 days into being delivered 12 of my large paintings, my legacy, on a truck to New York, I turned the truck back. There was no paperwork. They were selling my work off of my website.
Oh,
Boy.
And I hadn't even said, okay, I'm used to having a show and getting everything back.
I think there are so many stories, and maybe we should have just a casual gathering, not wait a year for our next.
I'm done.
We're just about out of time again.
Right.
So I just want to say that I'm so glad that everyone pushed through on this, and it's
Oh,
great seeing you
wow.
all. I'm happy to hear about your work. I hope that everyone stays healthy, and those who've had to deal with so much health, so many health challenges this year will just heal and do well. And all the best to everyone. I'm just filled with admiration for all of you and all that you've accomplished this year. And
Thanks for
Well,
all your
thank you,
work.
Jan. Thank you
Yes,
so
Jan.
much for everything.
thank you, Jan. It's
Yeah.
good.
Jan, you're great at doing
Well,
that.
Yeah, we really thank you.
it's about coming together.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
what happens
It's
when you
fun.
come together. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrific. It's really
It
great.
is.
I don't do this much.
Well, we'll do it again. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jan. It was
everybody.
great.
Nice to
Okay.